Okay, so we've all heard the name Warren Buffett, right? The legendary Oracle of Omaha, this absolute titan of the financial world. But we're not here to talk about the billionaire everyone knows. No, in this explainer, we're rewinding the clock. We're going back to the very beginning to uncover the story of his first million.
Because behind that massive legend is a story that's frankly way more fascinating than you might think. It's the story of a young man's focused, disciplined, and surprisingly simple journey to earning his very first $1 million.
So, how in the world did a shy kid from the middle of Nebraska become a self-made millionaire before he even hit 30? Let's break down exactly how he pulled it off, step by step.
It really all begins with him as a childhood hustler. We're talking from nickels to a small fortune. This is where he built the whole foundation.
You know, Buffett's obsession with numbers and profit started ridiculously early. I mean, at just 6 years old, he had a business model figured out. Buy a six-pack of Coke for 25 cents, then turn around and sell each bottle for a nickel. The profit? 5 simple cents. This just perfectly illustrates his mindset from day one. Find a system that's repeatable and, of course, profitable.
By the time he hit high school, that simple idea had totally snowballed into a whole portfolio of little businesses. He was delivering papers, sure, but he was also setting up pinball machines in barbershops, detailing cars, and even buying up used golf balls to resell them. See, he wasn't just working a job, he was building systems and generating cash flow.
And the result of all that hard work? Well, get this. By the time he graduated high school, Buffett had saved up what would be, in today's money, around $50,000. I mean, just think about that. At 17, he already had more seed capital than most people have in their 30s. It's just wild.
But look, hustling can only take you so far. The next, and maybe most crucial phase of his journey was all about finding a mentor. And it all kicked off with a book that changed literally everything for him.
And that book was The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. For Buffett, this wasn't just some book he read. It became his entire operating philosophy. It was like his financial Bible.
So Graham's core idea was something called value investing. And the concept is actually pretty simple. You ignore all the hype, all the popular trends. Instead, you hunt for solid, maybe even boring companies that are selling for less than they're actually worth. You could think of it like finding a $10 bill on sale for $5. It's a hunt for bargains, not for glamour.
And Buffett was absolutely determined to learn from the master himself. He finds the book, then he practically begs Graham for a job and gets flat out refused. So what does he do? He enrolls at Columbia University just so he can study under Graham. He graduates at the top of his class, and finally, he gets the job. You gotta admire that persistence, right? It was totally crucial.
So what did he learn at Graham's firm? Well, this is where we get to the famous cigar butt strategy, a method for finding profit in the most unlikely of places.
The analogy is kind of gross, but it's brilliant. Graham and Buffett would look for businesses that were like a discarded cigar butt you'd find on the street. You know, beaten down, ugly, and totally ignored by everyone else. But it had one last free puff of profit left in it. You could buy these things so cheap it was almost impossible to lose money. And this is the key difference. While pretty much everyone else was chasing the next big thing, the popular, hyped-up, expensive companies, Buffett was digging through the financial equivalent of a remainder bin. He was buying companies that were trading for less than their assets were worth, that were completely ignored by the market, and were just temporarily broken.
So by the time he was 26, Buffett was ready to strike out on his own. And this led to the Buffett Partnerships, where he put his whole strategy to the ultimate test.
He moves back to Omaha and starts what we'd basically call a hedge fund today. He had 7 partners, mostly his family and friends. The total starting capital was $105,100. And just look at this. Buffett's own personal contribution? $100. Just $100. He was betting on his skill, not his own cash. And he set up the rules to be incredibly fair, which is what built so much trust. First off, if the partnership didn't make a profit, Buffett didn't get paid, not a dime. Second, he only took his quarter of the profits after his partners had already earned a solid 6% return on their money. His success was directly 100% tied to their success.
And the results? Well, they were just staggering. As you can see here, year after year, his partnerships absolutely crushed the general stock market. We're talking often doubling its returns. He wasn't just winning, he was completely lapping the field.
And so, by age 30, while he's managing several of these partnerships, his personal net worth quietly crosses that $1 million mark. This wasn't luck. It wasn't an inheritance.
It was the direct result of a relentless, disciplined strategy that almost nobody else was even using. So, what can we all learn from this? Let's try to boil it all down to the 5 core principles that got him to his first million. Okay, number 1. He started early. He let the magic of compounding do all the heavy lifting for him. 2. He bought what was undervalued, always hunting for a bargain, never for hype. 3. And this might be the most important one, he was obsessed with avoiding loss. Keeping his capital safe was everything. 4. He used other people's money responsibly. The partnerships gave him incredible leverage, but he did it without ever getting greedy. And finally, number 5. He was patient. He wasn't trying to get rich quick. He was trying to get rich for sure. And that's really the key takeaway here. Everything we now know as the massive empire of Berkshire Hathaway, one of the most successful companies in history, all of it was built on the foundation he laid with these simple principles before he even turned 30.
It all started with a simple idea and just an incredible amount of discipline. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. What could a simple, disciplined strategy started today build in your own life?